Welcome back, my friends, to the Jameson Brandon channel, where we talk about all things money. Today, we're going to be exploring the very triggering topic of Bitcoin's energy usage, the energy efficiency, the crypto market as a whole, and really that whole narrative that we're seeing kind of spun out, and a lot of misinformation spun out from it. So hopefully this video serves as a more in-depth look at this, as well as some resources that you can dive into for yourself to explore this. So the Coinbase actually did something recently which I really love. Brian Armstrong and the Coinbase team has, I guess, discovered or noticed that essentially what's going on with the news today is that it's broken and it's fragmented, and that he's got the power and he's got the market share to go directly to the market with his news for his company. What they've started is this new initiative called, on their blog, I think it's called fact checking, or it's like this new kind of section. Yeah, here it is right here, fact check. And it's like a new subsection of their blog, essentially the Coinbase blog, where they're going to cite and give a breakdown of, fact from fiction. This whole topic of like disinformation and get the facts and, we're going to shoot you straight, and that kind of narrative that news sites who take that angle and then lie to you is very, very interesting. And so it's just creating more and more confusion. And I really like when a brand like this has the exposure and the reach to be able to put out their own version of that and just completely cut out the news cycle completely. And they've done this by getting in front of the hit piece that they attempted on Coinbase right before the IPO about race and gender bullshit. And they've done this in similar instances along the way about their company and their ethos. And I think that this is just another great step forward. So in this piece, which was published back on the 25th, I'll link it in the description, by the way, is what we're going to go through. And it's breaking down all of the myths and facts about crypto and Bitcoin's energy usage. Okay, so let's start at the top. Bitcoin is a significant contributor to climate change. According to the best available science, this isn't true. Mining is a process that Bitcoin and some other cryptocurrencies use to generate new coins and verify transactions. If Bitcoin has one issue, it's that there is no layer 2 solutions or layer 1 solutions, whatever you want to call them, basically layers that go above the Bitcoin protocol, because every single block that's being mined also is taking a copy and a snapshot of the ledger. And that's what takes so much time, and what can bog down the network is the fact that every single transaction is attached to every single block that's being mined. It's a very hard process to continue to do, whereas a layer 2 would allow it to settle later. That's what banks and stuff do, by the way. Layer 2s could be, payment processing, could be looked at as payment processing, or layer 1s. That would just be like, okay, we're gonna push through all these transactions right now. Bang, 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 like millions around the world. And then later we're gonna settle. Right? Your bank account does this, everyone does this. That's really the big difference here between Bitcoin, is that, the copy of the ledger and the actual horsepower taken and required for that is just a little bit too much. And we could introduce a layer 1, and that would fix a lot of that. And that was what Lightning Network was supposed to be. SegWit was kind of supposed to solve these problems. Just haven't really seen a great solution solve the problem yet. That's really as simple as it is. And there's more people that are getting involved in other chains and other networks that are putting their expertise towards those. And so that's why those look more, I guess, appealing, or they look like they have more solutions figured out, is simply because of that reason. Yeah, in April, there was a flurry of headlines warning that the emissions from Bitcoin mining in China could push global warming out of control. I'm sure you saw these. It was insane. But the report these articles were based on was deeply flawed. The numbers were derived from the mix of fuels used by China as a whole, not the actual energy mix used by miners. Because much of China's electric grid is powered by coal. This, again, it should have been the underlying thing that we were all looking at, is just how much of a polluter China itself as a country is, just like India and a lot of these other countries, instead of conflating the number and just blurring it into one. These researchers then assume that Bitcoin must be equally coal dependent. Here's why that's inaccurate. Miners are incentivized to find the cheapest energy sources available. This is true, especially underground miners. That generally means access power, electricity that would otherwise be wasted, and or sustainable energy, which is plummeting in price. Half of the global mining takes place in, not going to try that one, China, where excess hydroelectric power allows mining to be fueled by 95% renewable energy. Here's what's great. These are all the source links. Okay, so these aren't like sensationalized headlines. These are just the source links to things like this. like reports and data points and things like that, right? 75% of miners already use renewable energy. I brought this key fact up before, but I don't think I had this link. Yes, this is the University of Cambridge study that I was talking about before. When was this done? I could have sworn it was done end of 2020, September 2020. There you go. I'll drop it in the links below so that you can check that out. That's the reference that I've been bringing up quite a bit. So 75%, I'm not sure if I had the number right. I think I said 70%. 75% of miners are already using renewable energy. Most important of all, the researchers behind the Cambridge Bitcoin Electricity Consumption Index have concluded that Bitcoin's environmental footprint currently remains marginal at best. Okay, so the next one, Bitcoin is incompatible with a healthy environment, which is kind of a weird one. Pretty much the spin of the same thing that was brought up above is that Bitcoin doesn't use renewable energy. It's not really a currency for the future, and it's all a big hoax, and it uses coal, and it's horrible, and it's awful. And everyone who supports Bitcoin is awful as well. The facts. Renewable energy sources tend to have excess supply. When the grid can't support that power, the power goes to waste. This is true for a lot of energy sources. Case in point, natural gas producers use a process called flaring. Simply, it just burns the excess production. You can find out more about that. There's a link right here. Harming the environment and obviously benefiting nobody. Bitcoin actually can convert this excess energy into value, into real measurable value. And France24.com goes into how Bitcoin actually could reuse that wasted emissions, okay? By placing mining operations at the source of green energy, utilities can monetize their excess supply. In fact, at least one publicly traded power company has explored participating directly in mining to capture value from excess supply. This is actually genius. Instead of trying to cancel everybody and pin everybody against each other, which is so cheap and is what they're doing with everything, is how about we align like the kind of dirty energy that will probably get transitioned out or turn more into hydroelectric energy, or maybe some new stuff that we don't even know about yet in terms of energy production. Let them do their thing, right? Continue to innovate, and let's continue to move away from coal and dirtier sources of energy and align that with these cryptocurrencies that could easily use that same power to derive value. That's a beautiful thing, right? It's a win-win for everybody. All right, next. Bitcoin is inherently less efficient than traditional financial systems. Bitcoin would require 14x the world's total electricity just to process 1 billion credit card transactions that take place every single day. They're actually conflating the energy cost of mining Bitcoin with the cost of transactions. So energy consumption comes primarily from mining the blocks, not from the transactions. The mining process accomplishes multiple goals, including both the generation of new Bitcoin and the verification of new transactions, as I spoke about earlier. But the primary function of mining, as the name suggests, is generating new Bitcoin. Okay, so the energy spent is per block, not per transaction. Okay, so that is a huge thing to tell people and help them understand, is that it's per block, not per transaction. And again, this talks about tools like SegWit and Lightning Network are trying to solve these layers to batch more transactions, I guess you could say, together. It's just, they suck and they're not up to speed. Okay, next, Bitcoin uses too much energy. I'm sure you've heard this before. They've compared it to as much energy consumption as countries like Norway. Consider this, Norway's GDP is 400 billion, right? The total economic value in terms of market capitalization of Bitcoin has been as high as 1 trillion. You can't really compare it. That's the bad news. The bad news is you can't really compare these things, even though everyone loves to try. So the facts, the energy wasted by on but inactive household devices each year in the US alone could power Bitcoin mining for 1.5 years. That's a really good talking point. That's a really good rebuttal, is that like, look, we're already all wasting so much energy. And we haven't even gotten into the good stuff, like the energy wastage of plastics, the energy wastage of a lot of these other things that are occurring, and where are these things being produced and how are they being produced, all the way down to your iPhone. And those are conversations that I know some people are trying to like get into. It's really hard, I think, for people to like jump from, yeah, let's talk about Bitcoin and its energy usage. Oh yeah, let's talk about your iPhone and that's energy usage. Well, there's not a lot studied on that. Whereas a simpler connection and a simpler talking point for you would be that average household devices could power, in 1 year in the US alone, could power Bitcoin mining for 1.5 years. Bitcoin has been found to consume far less than other financial systems. Actually, I haven't looked at this study. Half that of the gold mining industry and less than 1/5 of bank branches and ATMs. Yeah, I can see that. That's probably true. I'll look to that, but you can as well. I'll give you a link below. Looks like it's going into electricity production compared to everything else. Last one is the crypto space isn't addressing environmental impacts. This is often used against the cryptocurrency community as a whole, like a cheap shot. Like, you guys aren't taking this serious. You guys act like clowns. You troll. You meme too much, and blah blah blah. Right? Here it is. Elon Musk, who recently tweeted that Tesla would be suspending acceptance of Bitcoin payments over fossil fuel concerns. I'm sure you remember that coincided with the market dump of May 22nd and 23rd. He met with the biggest North American mining companies. This was facilitated by Michael Saylor, including Argo blockchain, Hive blockchain, and Riot blockchain on May 23rd. And following the meeting, the mining firms announced that they're forming essentially a Bitcoin mining council, which did lead to some outcry in terms of like centralization of Bitcoin mining, and they thought that there's nefarious purposes for it. But I really don't think it's like that. It was really simply problem solution, and they're basically going to create a consortium that aims to accelerate the usage of sustainable energy. They want to be there by 2025, by the way. That's a pretty good goal. Here it is right here. Argo, who recently joined mining firm DMG Blockchain in the Crypto Climate Accord, CCA, is an initiative launched by a private sector that pledges to help the mining industry to transition to 100% sustainable energy production by 2025 and net zero carbon emissions by 2040. That's very admirable, okay? And it's definitely a lot better than some even countries are doing. Again, let's throttle expectations. Let's have a little bit more patience. Let's use some sound thinking and formulate our ideas from that place, right? Ethereum is currently undergoing an upgrade, okay? They're moving from proof of work to proof of stake, and that's how many cryptocurrencies currently operate. Let's see what else we got. Square recently announced a $10 million funding or initiative, Bitcoin Clean Energy Investment Initiative to promote the use of clean energy in mining of Bitcoin. Again, that's very positive. Several major mining firms announced green initiatives. Greenridge Generation Holdings said its New York Bitcoin mining operation would become carbon neutral on June 1st. Hey, how's that for fast? And Argo Blockchain announced new operations in Canada using mostly hydroelectric power. Coinbase Ventures recently invested in Crusoe Energy, a firm that harnesses natural gas producers access flare energy for crypto mining, what we were just talking about. So literally Coinbase just listed out a way that there could be a solution. Their venture arm is already investing in that. So, I mean, when you look through this, right, now how does this compare against the sensationalized Bloomberg article or who knows, CNN article that you've read where they're trying to pin it and frame it in a completely different way? This is why I think as a whole, this whole fact check idea through Coinbase is a beautiful idea, because obviously they have a huge voice and they can get information like this out. And I'm simply just reading through their article for you in hopes that this will get this information more out there. So I'll have the link underneath in the description. I really hope that you click through it and take a look and read through all this and share it with people who are especially skeptic so that they can get the facts. Now, they might not want to open their eyes and open their mind to these things because fact and truth has been skewed and everyone's got their own kind of opinions on stuff now, but at least you've got one great place that you can point people to that want more information that will help them understand just the significance of this and the steps that are being taken and solutions that are being presented to move forward. I'm sure this piece is going to continually be updated, so I definitely bookmark it and keep an eye on it and go from there. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead and hit the like button below. Comment below if you got something to say. All of that interaction helps this video get higher up in the algorithms, helps more of our subscribers see it as well. There's such a small amount of our subscribers that actually get to see these videos. And if you're excited about this stuff just as much as me, help us spread the word by just simply interacting with the video. If you're brand new here, subscribe. Be on the lookout, my friends. More videos coming soon. See ya.